Welcome back to the New York Sports Exchange, episode number 166. And we have our NHL Trade Deadline preview with the one, the only, Jake Zaretsky.
You know him, you love him.
It was a great time. You know him, you love him.
It was a great time.
We went on for an hour, so we'll try to be quick.
What's new?
Usually
we went on for like 2 hours the other time. It was like a 2-hour podcast the other time.
That was absurd. I'm like, we had to like move everything back a week. It was absurd.
Oh.
But 1 hour trade deadline preview, talk about the Lindgren and Vesey trade, what possibly could happen with the Rangers, what possibly could happen with the Islanders, especially with Brock Nelson and all the other trades
could happen
that
around
went
the
on.
league, man. There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. If it happens Friday, if it happens in July, who knows?
We'll see. Yeah.
Who knows? We'll talk Rantanen as well. And then if you stick to the end, a college basketball question that Jake asked me, which is
there you go.
Gotta love the hoops. Big month. This is March, baby. Big month coming up.
And the Cavs have 50 wins.
Conference tournaments coming up. Cavs have 50 wins. Knicks lose to the Warriors.
I was gonna do, man,
dude.
But
no one has it worse than Dallas Mavericks fans.
Jeez, they raised the season ticket prices too, baby.
Kyrie Irving out for the year, probably to pay. They just bumped up their insurance. That's kind of what it is.
They are fucked.
They're a disaster. They are a disaster. We will dive into that. Football. Matthew Stafford returning to the Rams, which means the Giants have
In on Aaron Rodgers.
To Aaron Rodgers.
Oof.
They've pivoted
you love it
to
or
Aaron
you hate
Rodgers.
it, Stan.
We'll get to that. Devontae Adams cut by the Jets. DK Metcalf requesting a trade. Max Crosby signs an extension with the Raiders. Good job by Tom Brady there.
I'll start tackling people.
Yeah. Good job by Tom Brady over there. And then some college basketball. I did break the news of Duke's assistant coach.
Guy wants that in his headstone.
Get that on my. Here lies Daniel Jack Layton. Broke Jay Lucas being hired by Miami. I broke that news. Just letting people
stick
know.
It on the gravestone.
Yep, I'm just gonna stick it on there. Also, a very unorthodox way of hiring a head coach, but this is how it goes now. Because for whatever reason, the transfer portal opens during the NCAA tournament. So
who made that rule?
He stayed. I think we need to go to the Supreme Court. That's how annoyed I am. If I'm being completely honest,
it's just pretty stupid.
We'll dive into college basketball, all that stuff. So let's get it started. What the hell was I just going to mention?
Football, baby. Matthew Stafford staying with the Rams.
There we go. Matthew Stafford staying with the Los Angeles Rams. It felt like, and now it was all this happened during Combine Week, and it seemed like
it was Giants or Rams. It was Giants or Rams in my mind. That's where it was.
And then it was announced that Stafford was staying in LA. And then Rich Eisen said, I believe it was it was somebody else, basically saying that the Giants were willing to pay the price for Matt Stafford, and it was just a Stafford decision of like, should I stay or should I go? And ultimately,
he's old. There's no reason to remove. You're old. You're finishing out your career.
It would have been nice, honestly. Like if you were to ask me Matt Stafford or Aaron Rodgers, I easily would have said Matt Stafford. Sorry.
But now it's Aaron. Now it's let me say Aaron Rodgers. Welcome to my life, Aaron Rodgers. Welcome to my life.
Yeah. And we'll get Devontae as well, probably, and just see what happens. But it kind of feels like with, and now we turn to Aaron Rodgers. Giants are pivoting to Aaron Rodgers. It seems that they also might sign Devontae Adams as well, considering that
it's just a package deal, Stan. It's just where it goes. It's just where he goes. It's the Pat McAfee deal. That's what it is.
Yeah. Tim, I do want to ask you, since these two franchise legends for the New York Jets are gone, what was your favorite
200 and change against Jacksonville was pretty nice.
What was your favorite memory of Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers? That's a New York Jet. Was it McAfee?
200 and change against Jacksonville, baby. Devontae Adams caught 225 yards against Jacksonville. That was the only highlight I've seen of those two people play together on the New York Jets. It was such a fucking dumpster fire. I have never been more this is you think of Rangers disappointment and then you think of Jets disappointment, and the Jets disappointment completely trumps the Rangers disappointment by 70 yards. This was a joke. I mean, this was supposed to turn the franchise around. And what we saw last year, if it's something like that moving into this season, Stan, I'm done watching. I can't. It's been 14 years, dude. I can't watch football. Like, it's a joke. It's a joke.
You can't.
I mean, Stan, I haven't watched a winning football team since who was it? It was Ryan Fitzpatrick in 2015. They lose to Buffalo to go 10-6 and don't make the playoffs. This is the last playoff team I saw was the Sanchez. That's the best Jets quarterback I've ever seen was the butt fumble. That's the best Jets quarterback I've seen. I don't know. I'm in the same spot I was 2 years ago. I mean, it is what it is.
It's just, and also the giant rumor that we're gonna move up to 1 as well and draft Cam Ward. I don't know where that. Here's the thing. I like the thought process. Do I think it involves the right people?
No.
That's where I'm like.
Well, I mean, Stan,
let's take a timeout here.
Let's talk about young quarterbacks. You go and get Cam Ward. The Jets, I mean, the report came out last week with Jordan Travis. They fucked up so bad that he regressed even more. I mean, he didn't even make a step forward. That's how bad they fucked up.
He removed the Jets from his bio on Twitter. He's
a fifth-round pick. Let's pump the brakes. But he's a fifth-round pick. All right, you're not a fucking franchise quarterback. But the way they developed him is a joke. And if they go into this offseason with sort of the similar mentality, like, you know what, we're creating a new sort of structure here, a new team. They're going to be 8-8, 8-9. They're not going to be a good team. Not. So it is what it is. I'm not looking forward to it. Are you looking forward to the NFL season? No.
Really.
No, exactly.
Especially after the end. And I said this the other day. I'm like, my team is about to sign Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams while also trading up for the number 1 pick in the draft.
Doesn't make sense.
I'm not happy. Like, that shouldn't be that should be a situation where you're excited.
It's not 2016.
It's not 2016 anymore. 2018. I'll say 2018.
All right, but 2016 was just a great year for me. You know, I just go back to that. Cleveland.
2016 was a great year in general.
I
watched the Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon dunk contest. I was like, you just had to be there.
When Zach LaVine was actually a cool NBA player instead of just an absolute overpaid, glorified, just disgusting.
That's true.
I mean, he's a joke.
That is true. What the hell was I just going to say? The other news. DK Metcalf demanding a trade out of Seattle. Here's the thing with DK. If you trade him, you got to pay him. That's the only way he's going to play. I've heard reports, LA, the Chargers, sorry. I should be more specific with that. The Chargers are
the team with more receivers. Yeah, makes sense.
The team that I like is the Packers because there's not really a set number 1 guy on that. Yep.
And you can move a guy like
set number 1 receiver.
You can move a few guys there too. There's a lot of interchangeable 2s and 3s that you can move there to get a number 1 guy. And DK with Jordan Love would be.
That'd be awesome. That'd be pretty damn good, especially with how loaded this division is. And, the Vikings, who knows what they're going to do with Darnold? The Lions, who knows what they're going to be, especially now with Johnson and Glenn gone. The Bears are somewhat on the rise. They just traded for Joe Thuney out of nowhere, and it didn't really take much, which is kind of concerning. So they've traded for 2 offensive linemen within the past 48 hours, something like that. It could really be a big opportunity, especially only winning 1 game against a divisional opponent, which is.
Well, let me ask you this: he wants out now.
The ideal standard in Green Bay.
He wants out. Where does Seattle look forward from this? You still have Geno under contract, obviously, and
I think you just got to let McDonald. Because here's the thing: I think that they looked good.
They're like the Minnesota Wild.
They were very And when you get to our hockey portion,
you know what we're talking about. That's a perfect example.
We're talking about. It's a very perfect example. The Seattle Seahawks right now are like the Minnesota Wild, where they're just a middle of the pack team. They're there. They're very meh. Geno's good. Kenneth Walker's pretty good. And then other than that, you just cut Tyler Lockett. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's probably going to be the number 1 receiver now, which is also big for fantasy value as well. Oh my God, I forgot another one. Now that I'm thinking of it, Debo's in my division now.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
Debo Samuel's
I forgot we didn't mention
my division.
That. Yeah. For the team you said was going to be a real problem in the future, somehow gets a lot better. You're fucked, man. I mean, you got 2 teams you're fighting with. You're fighting with to win a division. At least we only got Buffalo. But you got 2.
They have Ertz, Debo, Zach Ertz, Debo Samuel, Austin Eckler, Marshawn Lattimore.
Terry McLaurin.
Terry's kind of on the back 9 of his.
Jahad Dotson got traded, or is he still there?
He's on the Eagles.
Yeah, he did get traded. Yeah.
He did get traded, yeah. Howie. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, my fault. He got traded to the other team you're competing against.
Yes. I think with Washington, and I don't want to say. Here's the thing.
Okay. Stan, I know Carolina reportedly reaching out to teams about Star before deadline. So Carolina is actually trying to move Rantanen. from the report I'm getting.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Anyway, we did talk some Mikko Rantanen with Jake. As
But
I
it was more
saying,
of a well, I mean, they'll hear it, but yeah,
more of like,
they
they
want to
won't
move
move
on.
him. No, they're
They
calling
want to
team,
move
but
him. Yeah, they want to move him.
They're so stupid. They're so stupid.
Dumbest franchise
Anyway,
almost in sports.
I think with Washington, they got better. They got better. Do I think that their record will show that they got better this year or next year? I don't think so. Because one, you're playing a much harder schedule. That's number one. Number two, Debo's not really like how long. Like the big question is when is he gonna get injured? Like that's the thing. When is he gonna get hurt?
But like they didn't give up anyone they didn't have last year to get him, and you add him to already a pretty good offense that was pretty successful last year. I know the schedule is going to get harder. I'm not saying like they're going to be a fantastic team, but the Giants' path to a playoff spot right now is so much harder than it was in the last 2 years.
You know our opponents right now. It's a disaster who we have
guys
to
are gonna
play
get
at
killed.
home. I know we are. It's just I don't know. Honestly, I just think we just have to develop guys and just see what happens.
But that's you know what, and as much as we keep saying that, Stan, I mean that's been the motto for the Jets and Giants for fucking 10 years. It's a joke.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I want to be a New York football fan. I really do. But if there's two teams that blow, and I'm a Jets fan, like I can't even give any root for them because you guys are just as bad. It's got to the point, Stan, where it's so bad people don't want to play here. And if it keeps continuing that way, we're going to start to look like a Cleveland sort of, situation.
So let's start with actually, no, let's not start. Moving on from what were we just talking? Oh, Debo. Now we have Max Crosby signs a 3-year, $106.5 million extension with the Raiders, $91.5 million guaranteed. Here's my thing with this. Tom Brady must have gave Max Crosby a great map out of what his plan is for this team. That's sort of how I feel.
And that, or he made him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. I mean, that's what he did. So clearly, I don't know. I don't think they have a direction here. I think you're going to give him the money to stay in LA. Why not? Who cares? You're getting 106 over 3 years.
What was it? $91.5 million guaranteed.
He's the highest non-quarterback, highest paid non-quarterback player in the NFL. So
unreal. It's freaking.
The money was there.
And then Cooper Kupp. Rams GM said today that Cooper Kupp returning to the Rams is the least likely scenario to happen. So where does he go? I still think it's New England.
Yeah, I think New England's a good fit. I honestly, Giants get a quarterback. I don't know. I wouldn't rule them out.
Yeah, but I feel like with that, though, it's going to be
a lot.
It's not a lot. I just think that they're just going to sign him. Rodgers is going to be in his ear and be in someone's ear.
Well, okay, hold on.
Signing.
All right, so you're coming. You think Rodgers is that your quarterback?
I have slowly accepted the reality that Aaron Rodgers will be taking Week 1 snaps for the Giants next year. Yes,
great for you.
I've slowly accepted it.
You want to hear the reality I'm in because I read a report. The Jets are looking for a second tier quarterback. So if Carson Wentz is taking snaps with the Jets this year, I don't know if I'm gonna be happy or completely disgusted, but we'll see what happens.
Rangers tied the game, and Aaron. Rangers tied. Let's go.
I heard Mariota's an option actually for the Jets, which I love to pair with because they want to keep Tyrod Taylor and they want to draft a quarterback. So they're gonna have a 3 quarterback room supposedly. But
so who would you guys dart?
Probably someone like that. I think they said so. The report is they want to either use a mid-second round pick or an early third to get a quarterback, but not in the first round. So a guy like Cam Ward or anything like that, don't expect the Jets to draft. I think they go get an offensive tackle. I think you bolster the O-line. Honest to God, Stan, call me crazy, but if Tyrod Taylor's the Week 1 starter, I don't hate it. I really don't. I think if you had a few receivers,
don't hate that concept
he's not a bad quarterback.
But he is old. Like that's the thing.
But you got him as a 2-year, 2-year backup. Let him play this year out and figure something else out. I don't hate it.
It's not a terrible idea.
From where they were with Zach Wilson to where they are now, they've taken 15 steps back, and that's
I just had a head rush after coughing. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
You're good. But the way that the situation they're in from having Zach Wilson to where they are now is 4 steps back. They had the best defense in the league. Now they don't. They got to figure some things out. I think quarterback's a main issue, yes, but I think you need to figure everything else out before you go deal with that situation because they have the pieces.
Exactly.
They have the skill pieces in place. Just get the hard-nosed guys and figure something out, and then go get a quarterback.
Yeah. And the Eagles extended some of their main guys, including Saquon. They added 2 years to his deal.
Let's just leave it. They're gonna leave it
Zach
alone.
Bond.
You want to talk about the Eagles, dude?
I don't, but it's in the news, so I have to. Fun, yay. I'm not letting it affect me. This is March. Let's go to the NBA.
They won the bowl,
Tim,
bro.
Your Cavs.
It blows. They won the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, it really hit me. Like this was supposed
Saquon
to be
stayed in New York, he would have been a boxer growing up, dude. I mean, I saw that report. Did you see that article today?
Yes, I did see that. Yes, this was supposed to be my year. Like Yankees win the World Series. Didn't happen. Someone other than the Eagles was going to win the Super Bowl.
Are we?
Did not
Wait,
happen.
can we agree right now that we're both most excited for baseball because our teams are good?
No, I'm not looking forward to.
Really? All right.
We're all going to be rich. I'm focusing on fantasy and betting. That's sort of where I'm at.
You do you.
Fantasy baseball and betting. That's kind of where. Well, because, I mean, here's the difference. You have Juan Soto. I don't.
All right. Well, you still have Joe. I mean, let's not pump the brakes, but
yeah, but it's great when you have
let's not. All right. We said we wouldn't do this. Let's not.
We said we wouldn't do this, but yes, let's not do it.
The Cavs, man.
Cavs are great. They've won 11 straight for the second time this year, if I'm not mistaken. Third time this year. Absurd.
They only have 10 losses.
Yeah. And they're currently up 15.
I don't even pay attention when they play shit teams, dude. It's not even a comparison.
They're up 15 on the Heat right now. How you feeling? Because after that, I'll say this. After that win against the Celtics, how can you not be like, team of destiny, this is happening?
I mean, it goes back to the DeAndre Hunter trade, because they trade to get DeAndre Hunter, and then suddenly every metric of their style of play becomes first in the league. Their first defensive net rating, their first net offensive rating. Before they even got him, they've been statistically the best jump shooting team in NBA history. They have the best true shooting percentage in NBA history. This team is unfucking believable. The defense they play, and I know I don't want to pick on Celtics fans, but they're going to say people were injured. People have been injured every game. You got to figure out how to win without some of these guys. And the Cavs are they're unbelievable. I have no other words than, oh my God, Stan. I didn't expect this. I thought they were going to be good, but they've been unbelievable. So I've been happy.
Yeah. Knicks side of things.
You got to break this down for me, man. I don't even know what to expect. I don't even know what this team is. I can't.
We didn't have Cat because of personal reasons, and
I know, but there's some losses in there
because there's shit going on. There's some losses in there. Like the Heat win was like, okay, like fuck.
You shouldn't have lost to Golden State. You shouldn't have.
Yeah, we should not have lost that game. Like that's really bad, and I just don't want like. There's a lot of the Knicks fan base out there, and I mentioned this last episode where it's like, like if we get knocked out second round again, you got to like at least like explore the option of firing Tom Thibodeau. And
I think that's the first step.
I get it. Like, he's the coach that brought us to relevancy, won a coach of the year.
JB Bickerstaff did the same thing with Cleveland. Go get another guy that finishes the job.
But, like, I thought the goal was to win a championship.
Look at the fucking Kings,
if he can't get over that hump of just getting past the second round every time, like, something's got to change.
Yeah,
something's got to change.
Last year was tough. It's sort of the same thing this year, though. The reason they got hurt last year is they played so many minutes in the regular season, and that system hasn't changed at all.
Yeah. Next take on the Lakers tomorrow. It seems pretty certain that Karl Anthony Towns isn't playing, so that, I mean, he's not listed on the injury report, but he'll probably be listed tomorrow for at least questionable or probable. Tibbs did not sound too optimistic about him making go into this West Coast trip, so we'll see. I'm kind of just like, let's just get in the playoff mode, if I'm being honest. That's sort of where that's where I'm at.
You're a playoff team. It's just, can you beat other playoff teams?
Can we beat the other top two teams in the conference? Which I don't think that we can. There's really, like, I just don't understand. If we get to the Mavs too, as Tim runs away, he'll be back though. The Mavs are in disarray right now, if we're being completely honest. They bump up prices for season ticket holders. Actually, let's just rewind from the Anthony Davis trade to now, where it is. So they trade Luka Doncic. You're in the right direction. You're in the finals. You have Luka and Kyrie, two guys who you can build your franchise around, and you have the great bit, Gafford and Lively and Washington. Then you trade Luka for nothing. I know Anthony Davis is something, but let's all be honest here. Trading Luka Doncic and only getting 1 first-round pick back is absurd. Then there's the Anthony Davis injury. That happens. He only plays 30 minutes, and he gets hurt. Daniel Gafford also gets hurt. Derek Lively's out for the year. So now you have no big men. And then you bump up your season ticket prices 8%, and that causes outrage. Then Kyrie Irving tears his ACL.
And mind you, Mark Cuban's laughing when Luka Doncic hits a 3. Yeah.
Yes. So now your main draw for this organization is Klay Thompson. And that is not a main draw that you want to have in the great year, in the big 2025. So there is really...
Have we seen a more mismanaged team in a long time?
This might be the most. Let's just say, like Ryan Russillo said it best. He tweeted this the other day when it was announced that Embiid was out for the year. Giving Embiid that extension is the second worst thing a front office has done this year. The first being trading away Luka Doncic.
And I know it
for one first round pick.
Right, exactly. Now the way it looks, but I will say, if you look at it from the bigger picture kind of situation, if those two are healthy and you have a healthy Klay Thompson, that's a really fucking good team. That's a really good basketball team.
Like, come on.
No. I'm not defending the trade whatsoever. Not at all. But what I am saying is that because they're hurt now, it looks a million times worse.
Yeah. What the hell was I just going to say? Any other NBA news? I know we're short on time here.
I can't think of anything crazy. Oh, LeBron, 50,000. Jesus Christ. LeBron got 50,000 points. Jesus Christ.
50,000. I just love the first father-son duo to score 50,000 points. LeBron and Bronny.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
first duo to do that.
Can everyone please just take a minute? If you're a LeBron hater, whatever it is, just appreciate what you're watching. Please. This man is 40.
All right. I appreciate it.
Not you. I'm just saying everyone.
I appreciate it.
The man dropped like 34, 8, and 10 the other night. I mean, what are we doing?
All right.
Imagine if he was a Knicks fan, if he was a career-long Knick, you'd be fucking slobbing like crazy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But that's not. This isn't the reality that we live in.
It should have been. I mean, we can go back to the decision. It should have been.
Should have been. I don't know why Dolan thought it was a good idea to have a Carmella and Tony Soprano hype video for LeBron when they were from New Jersey, which was also weird. I don't know. That video was hilarious, though. That video has been shown on this podcast before.
But you know what, Stan?
Let's go to college basketball. Oh.
They get LeBron. You don't get that mellow welcome home video. So
that is true. That's very true.
And I still watch that.
Let's go to college
day.
basketball. That is true. Let's go to college basketball real quick. Duke gets a big win over Wake Forest on senior night. I believe we've won 4 straight games by 30.
Welcome to Cleveland
points.
Culture, baby. Feels great, doesn't it?
Yeah, really.
Never losing. Feels great.
This is awesome. And we take on North Carolina on Saturday.
You don't feel scared about anyone, right? You don't feel no one scares you. No, exactly. It's awesome, right? You're just yeah. Like, we gotta go. We gotta play OKC. Oh, yeah,
we're the standard.
Exactly.
I
love
standard. That. Like that's just what it. That's just what it is. I love this.
I love it.
And now, granted, come tournament time, like I'm gonna fucking lose.
Exactly. Come playoff time, it's like, it's all Boston. It's the same situation. We're both. You know what? Here's my point. Yeah, perfect. Duke is Cleveland.
Yeah. This team is awesome. There's really it's a privilege to watch all these games that Cooper Flagg has played in. It really just is. It's awesome. And I know that we've had our scares a bit with injuries. I know Malik Brown's still kind of coming back from that subluxation of his shoulder. Tyrese Proctor just came back from his bone bruise injury on his knee. He didn't really look that sharp, but it's just a feeling out process.
Yeah.
Just a feeling out process with that.
Bone bruises Hopefully he's good by Saturday. They suck.
Hopefully he's good by Saturday, but I can't wait. I'm excited. March is here.
I think this is the most confident I've seen
when
you.
Your team's good.
I think it's the most confident I've seen you as a Duke fan because I know. I mean, the Zion years and everything. You were happy, but you weren't like, "Oh, this is a for sure thing." I've never seen you more
here's the thing.
You're so nonchalant about this team, though. You're like, "This is it. Like, we're just gonna win. Like, that's it."
Here's the thing with the Zion team. The Zion team was fun. Don't get me wrong. They weren't deep, and they didn't really have that much experience. And the experience that we had, their experience was basically just coming off the bench, really. And those same guys still came off the bench. So it wasn't like a good mesh. This group of guys that we have It reminds me of the 2015 team.
Kentucky?
And no, Duke, where you had stud freshmen all around. You had Okafor and Tyus Jones and Justice Winslow and Grayson Allen. This group has, Flag and Knipple and Isaiah Evans and, Pat Gamba has really been a big factor since Malik Brown got hurt. And also there's the experience as well. Because Tyrese Proctor has sort of stepped into that Quinn Cook role where he's just been incredible. Then he's really just been like the facilitator of the point guard. Sion James is built like an NFL linebacker
I love those college type of players.
We have a linebacker playing point guard. Like
those college basketball players are the best. They're the best.
We have a linebacker playing point guard. And I forgot to mention Malawach of the freshman as well, but we have great experience coming off the bench too. Mason Gillis played a national championship last year with Purdue. Had his best 3-point numbers all year, probably because Zach Edey was getting the offensive rebounds and 5 guys on the floor were boxing him out. And he was wide open, just give it back to him. But still, a 40% 3-point shooter is a 40% 3-point shooter. Isaiah Evans reminds me of Brandon Ingram. And if he has a breakout March, if he has a breakout tournament, he's probably going to declare for the draft and get picked late first round. Because
not
teams love a guy. No, it's going to be a great draft. Teams, but here's the thing with Isaiah.
I don't know the back end.
Here's the thing with Isaiah Evans, though. He's one of those guys where he hits 1-3, he's not missing for the rest of the game. Like, he's just one of those guys. And if your scouting report is just all it takes is one, teams are going to drool for you. So if we get him to come back, it's insane.
Let me ask you
Who else is there? I mean, Malik Brown's been incredible. I'm loving this team. I'm loving it.
If you're just gonna, because I don't know as much college basketball clearly as you do, but if you're gonna give me a scope of this, who's better, that Devin Booker, Anthony Davis, Kentucky team, or this Duke team right now?
Well, they didn't play at Kentucky together.
Well,
do you mean 2012 Kentucky with Kid Gilchrist and AD and all of them?
Are you sure they didn't play together, Sam?
Devin Booker got drafted in like 2017.
Maybe it wasn't Devin Booker, but what was that Anthony Davis team?
It was Michael. It was Michael Kid Gilchrist.
Okay, then that team, that team that was so successful.
I think it's the Duke team.
Really?
Mentioned it last episode. I mentioned it last episode where it's like this is the highest. It's the highest net rating of any team in the Ken Pom era since the 90s. Since 99. Since 99. No one's ever, come on. And all respect to that Kentucky team was awesome. But this team's going to be better, and I can't wait. Like, I'm looking forward to it. And I can't wait to post this clip on TikTok, and everyone's just going to be like, get knocked out second round.
I'm rooting for you. I will ask you this. I want to, before we, because we're going to have to wrap this up going to the interview, but that Texas guy, Trey Johnson, I saw a little scouting report on him. Is he like kind of that like fifth
Texas
overall?
Texas might not make the tournament.
I'm not worried about the tournament. I'm thinking NBA scope wise.
Okay.
For him, is he like that fifth overall pick that's kind of like, oh my God, this might be the breakout player of the draft? Or is he kind of just like a college scorer for you? Because I look at his stats and they're pretty good.
Yeah, that could work. Because
the way he plays sort of seems like an NBA style scorer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it kind of translates to the NBA game. Because you have guys in college who, like Tyus Jones, for example. I know he made the NBA, but like the way he played in college, the scoring aspect he had in college didn't translate to the NBA. But the way Trey, this guy plays over here, it's
he's been able to find a way.
Exactly. Yeah, he creates his own shots in sort of like a way you would in the NBA.
He's out of that like group of Duke freshmen, like from that 2015 team. He's been him and Grayson have been like the guys that have been able to be.
Yeah,
stay in the league because Winslow and Okafor just got a 2-way deal, so good for him. He's been able to develop a 3-point shot. He was born in the wrong era, man.
Oh
if
my
it was
God,
1996,
he was in 2000.
He'd be the great. He'd be the really. If it was
Nerlens Noel.
Yeah, really. Had a long career. There was no point where Noel was like.
You know what? I will say those years he backed up on the Knicks was great. He was good for the Knicks.
He was a solid player. It was just like Okafor was like hyped up to be like one of the best center prospects ever.
Didn't they have another one?
And then he was out of the league in
5
years.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Stan. It didn't seem like they hit a home run with Embiid either. This is a complete fucking dumpster fire.
Nah, come on. He won an MVP.
I don't feel like you win an MVP, you lose the first round. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but they did that stupid process shit, and now everyone was like, title or bust.
All right, before we wrap this up, I want to ask one real quick about DPOY this year. Who's winning it? The NBA. You don't got to stroke me, but
It might be Evan Mobley.
It might be. He won Eastern Conference Defensive Player of the Month this month. I mean, he's the front runner for it.
It might just be
again
him.
a real question I got to ask you again before we wrap this up. Last one. In the next five years, is this guy a top 5 player in the NBA? Because he reminds me exactly of Stan? Kevin Garnett. He's a bigger Kevin Garnett.
Top 10, not top 5.
All right, that's fair.
Top 10, not top 5.
That's fair.
Okay, we're going to go to the interview with Jake. We're talking everything hockey, Rangers, Islanders, Mikko Rantanen, all that. Does Chris Kreider stay? Does Chris Kreider go? Who knows? Enjoy the interview.
Does Brock Nelson stay?
Jake Zaretsky. Does Brock Nelson stay? Yes. Enjoy the interview. Jake Zaretsky, friend of the program. What I saw is next, or what I saw is after that. All right. All right. It feels like he's just a mainstay at this point, so I feel like there's no need for a long introduction. Jake Zaretsky is with us today to go over the NHL Trade Deadline. Ends on Friday at 3 o'clock.
Pretty much starts it starts on Friday at 12 is usually when it starts.
That is fair.
But when it really
started already. It's been started already. We're going to go over basically every trade that has happened from Lindgren and Vesey going to Colorado to the most recent one, Yanni Gourde going back to Tampa Bay. And then we're going to see some names being thrown around. We're going to talk about that. So without actually, let's do a nice little check-in. Jake, how are we doing? It's been a while. It's been since September.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if you're asking me personally, I've been doing good. But on the Rangers side of things, it's been one of the most frustrating seasons that I could honestly remember, just from an expectation standpoint. When you look at where they were a year ago today, think about it, like fresh off the Stadium Series win. I remember.
Oh my God!
Remember they went.
That's where you started from.
Yeah, Stan, I think the gentlemen are talking here. I think they went on like an 8 or 9 game win streak, including that game. So
I believe it went to 11 at one
point. Yeah. So
good times, right? Good times.
Right. So to be where they're at now, it's very frustrating. But things are good. They've been better. Obviously, JT Miller, our Lord and Savior, is still on a 6 or 7 game heater. So I'm really happy with that.
I would like to say as well, Jake had some comments on the instant live reaction. I will say, there was, at the time of the trade, it was very dim in Rangerland. And I was like, no move can really move.
It's a real sunshine right now, is what you're saying?
Hey, we're in a play. It's better. We're taking on the Caps tonight. It's better. Yeah. I'll leave it at that. It's much better than what it was back in December or January even. So, speaking of the Rangers, let's just get it started. Ryan Lindgren and Jimmy Vesey have been traded to the Avalanche for Calvin DeHaan. What's Parsons' first name again? I'm blanking.
Juuso
Parssinen, a 2025 second and a 2025 fourth. Let's start on the Rangers. What the fuck is happening? This is only the trade deadline.
They're playing Shell outside, screaming.
Wow. That was quite something right there.
Raw potatoes are back.
I let him know.
I mean, I kind of want to hear. Look, I'm never going to get a neutral opinion about the Rangers from Tim, but I kind of want to hear what he has to think about it. Just seriously.
I mean, for me, for this trade or just the season in general?
No, the trade, the Lindgren trade.
Oh, I think it's a win for you completely a win. Calvin DeHaan's a great stay-at-home defenseman. Isles legend, by the way, for people who don't know. And if you need to add picks and depth, listen, let's be honest. Like, real look in the mirror here. This is not the year for you guys. This really isn't the year for you. You retool, you get rid of some pieces you don't need, and I think this is a good move for you. I don't see it in the cards for the Rangers this year. The same way I really don't see it for the Isles, but if they get in, who knows?
Sure.
We could say the same thing about the Rangers too. Like, it's not.
That's
what
I'm saying.
If they get in, it's you never know.
I mean, listen, you make a good point. I think when you think of the top contenders in the NHL this season, if you were to pick 5, I don't think the Rangers would even come onto your mind. I do think that the East is a little wide open considering the Jack Hughes injury that just happened. I think the Caps are there, but not a lot of people are picking them to go very far just because they're a new contender into the whole picture. Carolina's Carolina. They still have not won an Eastern Conference final game, even though they've been there twice in the last 5 or 6 years. So it's wide open, but I do kind of agree that, when you're looking at the picture, it's really not the Rangers' year, especially considering what's happened. But when I look at this trade, we spoke a little bit of, before the show about sentimental trades and, trading guys who have been there during big moments like Hedel, Lindgren, Kakko, Trouba, who have all been dealt this season. But I'm somebody now, as I turn 24 in 2025, that the hunger and the lust for a Stanley Cup has grown way, way beyond the sentimental value when it comes to trading these guys.
I don't even know if I'm there yet.
Yeah, I mean, look,
And
to
also,
have guys like JT Miller and Calvin DeHaan, like you said, stay on defenseman. I thought he looked great in his Ranger debut.
I loved his interview too. It's
yeah,
if you
no,
look at my
he's-
hockey IMDb, it's not great.
he's a veteran. He's a great guy. He's someone that you kind of want on a roster like that. I mean, the Avalanche got him for that exact reason. You know, when a guy like Lindgren comes to the table, it's good for a playoff contender to add a player like that because Lindgren's a great player. I'm hoping that he does well in Colorado. And at the end of the day, it's just if the team and Drury are building towards a bigger picture, whether it's now or down the road, I'm on board with it regardless.
Yeah. It kind of felt like the writing was on the wall, though, for Lindgren. And it was almost like the same thing for Kakko, too, where it was, the writing was on the wall, even though, the difference between Kakko and Lindgren was Kakko was actually playing well before he got traded when everybody else wasn't. And, Lindgren hasn't really, honestly, for the past year, it kind of really hasn't been translating, especially with him and Fox, and
Just needs a new home.
Just needed a new home, really. And honestly, it gives Colorado like a proven top 4 defenseman, and it also allows them to get a top penalty killer, really, if you really think about it.
We haven't talked about it yet. I know Jimmy Vesey didn't really do too much for the Rangers, but I kind of like that as a piece for the Avalanche. A guy you could stick in your lineup as a rotational piece if you need him, especially because I think they're going to move on from Middlestad, who's been severely underproducing. I think this is a guy you could throw in your lineup and a good depth piece for a playoff run.
All right, next trade. The Minnesota Wild go get Gustav Nyquist for a 3rd-round pick going back to Nashville. This can go well if the Wild
taking a gamble.
This is a big gamble. This is a big gamble, and
is it really a big gamble though? Considering what they gave up.
Considering what they gave up, not really. Considering the fact that the Wild have had so many injuries, to their big forwards like Joel Eriksson, Kirill Kaprizov. If they can get the Nyquist from last year, he had 23 goals and 75 points total. If you can get some of that,
I mean, it's good.
Especially now they're trying to make a push.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, this is me finding out for the first time that it was a 2nd-round pick. I thought it was like a 4th or a 5th.
No, I thought it was. That's why I'm saying it's a kind of a gamble.
It definitely sounds a little bit more like a gamble now, especially considering where the Wild have been for the last couple of years.
Let me ask you real quick, Jake. Do you, in your mind, have they moved the needle at all, really, closer to a championship? Because in my mind, they're sort of just kind of been in the same situation for the past 10 years.
They've sort of just been there.
No, like this year, I do feel like it's a little different, honestly, just because of the young talent that they've developed very, very steadily over the last couple of years with guys like Bossy, with guys like Boldy.
You say Bossy?
Yeah.
Bossy.
Guys like Matt Boldy, Marco Rossi, Brock Faber especially too. I think that their dynamic has changed a little bit. I think they become a much faster team. They give me like LA Kings kind of vibe where not too many superstars. Obviously they have Kirill Kaprizov, but they're really going to bang bodies. Philip Gustafson's been fantastic this season for them too. Also, when you have a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury, that's just a presence in your locker room that you really can't beat, especially for playoff runs. I don't know. Have they moved the needle? Not as much as some other teams have, but it definitely wouldn't surprise me as much as it would have in previous years if they were to win a round or 2 in the playoffs.
Now, do either of you know, was it last year, this year, or next year where they're done paying the Suter-Parise buyout kind of deal they had? Is it this year it's off the books?
Done, or it's this year?
Because I know that's been holding them back for a pretty long time now where they have some cap situation.
It doesn't go into next year. That I know for a fact. I'll actually validate that while Stan gets into our next trade.
Our next trade, I was going to bring up Nashville situation just because they're just a mess.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy to me, Stan?
What a clusterfuck.
You know what's absolutely crazy to me? None of them want out. There's a report that came out that said all of them want to stay. And I think that kind of trends towards what that team is more of a retirement home than it is a cup contender because they signed a ton of veterans in the offseason. Everyone loves living in Nashville, like the whole area, the taxes and everything. So I think a lot of those guys are just going to try and finish out their career there.
Stamkos hasn't even scored a goal in 15 games.
I mean, he helped Sorokin put one in pretty well. So
right,
that is true. Yes.
Right. Can I? I have an update on the Parise Suter situation. So their $14.7 million buyout ends this year. It transitions into $1.6 million from 2025 to 2029.
Yeah. I mean, well, you remember that contract, Stan? That's when they started allowing you to give the big long-term deals, and they just...
That was a disaster.
It was like them two and Kovalchuk.
Happy he wasn't on the Devils anymore, but that contract was just a disaster.
Yeah. I mean, hindsight's 2020. I mean, when they brought them in, it was like, whoa.
Well, those were the two.
It felt NBA like. I mean, the press conference.
Parise was like the best American in the league at the time.
Yeah. And Suter was nuts too, so crazy, but... That's history.
All right,
So
next trade, pretty big one. Panthers get Seth Jones. The Blackhawks get Spencer Knight and a 2026 first.
I love this deal for both of them. I love it for both of them.
I love this deal for both teams, too.
Yeah,
Starting with the Panthers side first. Seth Jones is under contract for 4 more years. And
the Blackhawks retained some of that salary, too.
They did as well. I believe the Panthers have enough cap room to bring back either Ekblad or Sam Bennett. That gives you a top 4. If they do bring back Ekblad, they have a top 4 of Jones, Forsling, Mikkola, Ekblad. That's pretty damn good.
That is pretty solid.
The rich get richer.
I think they use that to get Jones, right?
Yeah,
they probably use that to get Jones.
They still have more cap because they retained 26 cents on the dollar to the salary, so they're really not even paying him the full. What is he making, $9 million? And what does that even come down to? So they still have more cap room to work with, and they won the cup last year.
That is true.
They're pulling a Vegas.
They currently sit with $5.3 million in cap, so they can. They definitely are still players. Like they could still go get somebody to really either bolster the blue line. I mean, I know they just traded for Vitek Vanacek today as a backup.
They did today.
I think that was a good trade too.
Yeah, they got rid of a guy that isn't playing for a guy that
exactly.
Is, so. I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to add like another second line forward, just because I think they're running Evan Rodriguez and Mackie Samoskevich on those wings. So if they put somebody to maybe put down the middle with Sam Bennett, I think that would definitely help them. But yeah, I mean, I saw Jay Fresh put a poll out today where it's like, do you think that the Eastern Conference will be represented by a Florida team in the Eastern Conference final?
Yeah,
maybe.
And it was like 68% yes. So
I think Tampa might be better than them right now, but that's a different story.
That move that they made.
I mean, we'll get to the Tampa.
That was a fantastic trade. That was a fantastic trade.
Yeah, it was. It was
for the Blackhawks.
He had a great. Are you Stan? His first game, unbelievable.
He had a great game yesterday. I'll say this, and I know it's a very fluid situation, but you may have just found your franchise goalie.
Oh, 100%. And I want to tip my cap to the Panthers organization. They are the best organization at like containing goaltenders and moving on from them to different teams for pieces, because they had Spencer Knight. They signed I'm now blanking on names here. This is going to bother me. They signed Bobrovsky. They traded what's-his-face to Buffalo.
Lion, right?
No, they
Isn't that his name?
Who's the Canadian goal? Fuck, I always forget his name.
He's on Buffalo now?
Yeah.
Goodness.
Oh boy. Are you sure he's on Buffalo, not Toronto?
It might be somewhere else, but either way, whoever. I mean, they have a great goaltending system and room, and that's helped them out so much. I mean, the way they're able to like interchange and move on from guys has just been so fantastic for them. So
Bobrovsky's been there for years. It's just
but he's still making a hefty deal, which is crazy.
Play, and we're just gonna trade our backup goalie.
Even when he wasn't. Remember at that time when he was awful, and that was almost looked at as one of the worst goalie contracts in the league.
Yeah. Well, and also
that is true.
Bobrovsky and Jones have chemistry playing together in Columbus, so. That's another thing to look out for.
And also, it's an advantage for Chicago because he's been playing behind Bobrovsky for the past year and a half now.
He was in the players program for a little bit, but yeah.
He was in the players okay. But, there's still an advantage to that. And now, this young core got somewhat better in Chicago if you really think about it. They're going to come up. They're going to come up eventually. It might take a year. It might take 2 years. I hope it does because they need a better coach, for God's sake. But watch out. Here come the Hawks. Here come the Hawks, man. Look out.
It's crazy.
The next trade, Travis Frederick to the Edmonton Oilers.
Who is that?
Jeez. Trent Frederick.
The name? Wait. Trent?
Trent Frederick.
Why did I say Travis? Well, but because I was fucking typing this shit up.
You're good.
And I was reading a Travis Hunter report, and I had Travis in my mind.
If you guys did look at the actual logistics of that trade, it was kind of ridiculous, the cap loopholes they went through to make that deal done.
Yeah, there was a lot of teams involved. It was a 3-team deal, but the Devils were involved with this as well.
Yeah.
But they only got the rights to a prospect that's playing overseas.
I think not mistaken. Did they end up retaining some of the salary as well?
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
They were the third team in the trade, so they needed to take on some cap and some roster help too.
Did they get LaChance, the kid from BU or BC?
They took someone. Whenever I'm thinking of a player where they get their rights, I'm always
they got Shane LaChance and 50% of Frederick's salary, which I think was already 50% of. I don't know how that works because it was a retained deal. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, this I'd say this makes the Oilers better. He brings size offensively. He's able to kill penalties, which is something that the Oilers desperately need. I think it's a good move. And now Evander Kane's he's out for the year, right? Evander Kane, or is he coming back?
They
What's
haven't
happening
really said
there?
much.
It's been kind of in the dark, but they need him.
So since
he's
they're
kind
so
of a big piece of that team.
Yeah, since they're so mum about it, I would assume he's out for the year.
I don't know.
I think they're holding hope that he might be able to come back for the playoffs.
Yeah, the teams don't disclose this. I didn't know Oliver Wahlstrom tore his ACL last year until about 4 months after he tore his ACL. So
that's fair. So now from Boston's side, is this the beginning of the end for these?
Yep.
Are you going to see Marchand being moved?
I think maybe not this year, but I think.
Well, Marchand's on the last year of his contract, so he's a free agent at the end of the year. Or is there going to be a reunion? Are we going to see?
I don't know.
I think how old is Marchand? He's
35.
35? That's tough.
I don't know. Is he hurt right now? Isn't he hurt?
Marchand, yes.
Out until Friday's deadline
for roster management, or are they?
That's the thing. I don't know. I don't know where they're going. The direction for them is a little.
Also, speaking of being out for roster management, Riley Smith also out. What are we any teams in mind of where? Is he going to a contender? Or is he going to a team out west? What do we think about that?
I don't know. It's tough, right? I mean, you look at the players in the Western Conference. I think right now, a team like Vegas. I mean, that would be I think if you're right, Tim.
Yeah, I just had a burp. I didn't want to do it in the. You try and cover it.
I mean, how many times have we seen Vegas take a swing like this, right? How many times have we seen them go after a guy, whether it's during the deadline or in the offseason, to really go for it all? So they're
kind of quiet about it too. You won't hear too much buzz before it happens.
No, it just kind of happens, similar to the Timo Meier situation. Oh no, that was with the Devils. Well, yeah, but it's a similar thing where it kind of just unfolded very quickly. So I don't know. We'll see. I think if I'm looking at a team right now to make one of those whoa trades at the deadline, it'd probably be Vegas, and I wouldn't be surprised if they find a way to get me.
Well, they did make some of those whoa trades last year when they got Tomas Hertl.
They did. You're right. You're not wrong about that.
So they're more than capable of doing that. They don't care really. They could put Mark Stone on long-term IR and be like, you know what?
Yeah, screw it.
I think another team sort of like that in the West that makes an approach. I think the Kings might be a big buyer this deadline. I think they have the assets. They got a lot of guys they're willing to move on from. I don't know if Turcotte or any of those guys. I mean, the younger guys that have somewhat panned out decently, they can make a big trade, and they're a pretty fucking good team.
But I feel like with that, we saw what Vancouver did last year and buy and trade away future pieces, and then look at them now. And it seems like that's what the Capitals are avoiding, and they're kind of just okay, we're leading the league in points. We're on track to win the President's Trophy. Let's not screw this up and bring in guys. And
they had such a, and I know I was so negative on it, and Jake was right, but they really did have a phenomenal offseason. The way the Capitals kind of addressed everything, the defensive aspect, they got big enough guys who move the puck well. Forward wise, the forward group's been phenomenal. And Connor McMichael, who I said even way back when he was drafted, I love the way that kid plays. And he's been fantastic for them. And you add that along with probably the best goaltending in the league. I mean, can we agree on the way it's been so far? It's been fantastic.
The way it's been so far, it's been very good.
Fantastic. So
they've been getting the job done.
And
they score so many goals that it doesn't matter. When you have guys coming out of the woodwork, like Alexei Protas, suddenly Pierre-Luc Dubois feels like he's back to his 2019 prime. And so
good. Well, what's happening?
It's a train.
NJ Transit.
Yeah,
they're incompetent.
Yep.
I think it's
incompetent. I love NJ Transit.
Yeah. Anyways,
so I did not mean that.
To continue that point, yes, I think with the Capitals, and thank you, Tim, for recognizing that. I know that clip got corrupted, but yeah,
that's what they're saying.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Jake was right on the money with Washington this year. It was look out, they're going to be pretty damn good, and his audio file got corrupted.
Gone forever.
I will say we were all wrong about the Devils, because I'm telling you they're not going to make it.
They're not. I don't think they're going to make it either. Jack Hughes out for the year with a shoulder injury.
Let me finish.
Go back.
Oh
go
yeah,
back,
shit.
Go back.
Sorry. I apologize.
I don't want to talk about them. I apologize. Yeah, Matt Waugh was out for I think the first 20 games of the season, and that was a guy who I thought was going to make a serious impact. He's come back, and he's actually been a really steady defenseman for them. Jacob Chychrun turned it up to a different level about halfway through the season, and he's been really, really, really good for them. And again, those guys that are coming out of the woodworks now, like I said, Alexei Protas, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Connor McMichael, as you said, Dylan Strom's been a really good centerman for them
Fantastic.
as well.
And Nick Backstrom.
When you have the greatest goal scorer of this generation scoring hat tricks out of just for fun, and then banging the glass and hitting his kid, for every goal that game, that's pretty special to see. So they have something special going on. I spoke a lot about Spencer Carberry as well. I thought he was one of the better coaches in the NHL just because of his demeanor, and it's definitely paid off for them. I did not have them at first place in the Metro.
Who did you have at first place?
I think I said that they could be third or first wild card.
Well, yeah, I said Vancouver last year was going to be second wild card, just sneaking in, and here they are. And then my hot one this year was Utah, but I don't think that's going to work. Maybe they're only 4 out, only 4 points out of the second spot. Anything's possible.
But they're still the Coyotes,
especially with Vancouver in disarray right now. You never know.
I mean, they've been in disarray for like 2 months.
But the problem is, dude, is that they're in disarray and they're still finding a way.
They're still winning.
Right,
they're still winning.
So crazy. Like I don't know. They're such an anomaly to me that I'd rather a team like Calgary make the playoffs just because I think they have a good roster. Like they're one of the most steadily sound defensive teams in the NHL. So we'll see what happens with them. Plus they have Dustin Wolf, who I love. I think he's a great player.
Yes. Let's go to the deal that happened today. Yanni Gourde and Oliver Bjorkstrand to the Tampa Bay Lightning.
It's a problem. Excuse me. It's a problem.
It is an issue.
I mean, that's just another scenario where, first of all, look, I mean, they getting Jake Gensel.
Oh, it's been unbelievable for them. It's
insane.
unbelievable.
It's such a problem. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that he doesn't have the physicality that a lot of players do and around the league nowadays. Like, my perfect NHL player has always been Matthew Tkachuk, and Gensel kind of has a little bit of similarities to him where he can do everything. And so I don't know. I think the fact that they got him, and I know Gensel doesn't kill penalties, but it's just like, that's a guy you just throw on the ice, whether it's in the last 5 minutes of the game or whatever, and he's just going to give you 1,000%. So they have him. Okay. They put Gensel on their first line. Great. Solid. Whatever. Oh, okay. We're competing for the playoffs. Awesome. Let's do even more by adding a second line right winger and throwing Yanni Gourde back on our third line. And it's just, they're a team where they're very similar to Carolina, where you throw in guys like, I want to say they have Zemgus Girgensons now, which is unbelievable. Mitchell Chafee's on that team too. Guys who aren't like named, but then you see them on the ice and like, whoa, why are these guys flying? And it's so similar to Carolina, where they just bring up these guys from the AHL or from the ECHL even, or they draft them or whatever it may be, and they just go into the lineup and they just bang bodies and they put their head down and they skate. So when you got a guy like John Cooper there, that definitely contributes to that.
Yeah, and the difference is they have a winning culture in Tampa. I mean, this has been one of the best teams we've seen in a long time, going back a few years where they win those 2 cups. But they add on to this roster with the forward depth they need. I look at this team, I think Braden Point, when the playoffs come around, he's a top 5 player in the league. You still have Nikita Kucherov, who's already just a top 5 player in the league, paired with almost the best, probably, I mean, you could throw him up as the best goaltender in the league. I mean, the team is deep with the best coaching, probably one of the best run organizations, and we've seen it in all sports. And I know they give up the 2 picks here, but if they're so good, they're going to be late first round picks anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal.
I also want to mention the addition to Bjorkstrand. I feel like everyone's talking about Yanni Gourde because he used to be on the team. Now you're getting a second line of Cirelli, Hagel, and Bjorkstrand.
That's good. They're a good team.
That's an issue. That is an issue, especially now where Florida, Tkachuk's out until probably the postseason. And, Toronto, we all know the lore of Toronto.
Fuck them.
And who knows, they're always due for a collapse.
With them next year, huh?
I wouldn't want to be that front office.
Yeah, yes and no, because the problem is that they're not struggling, right? So they're definitely making the argument as a team right now to bring everybody back, which they do have the ability to do because the cap is going up and they do have the ability to do that. I've already heard the Mitch Marner, the Islanders thing. That's not happening. That's just,
I wasn't even mentioning the Island. I don't want him. My dad, I absolutely hate Mitch Marner. My dad fucking hates him too. I don't think he's a winner. I think he's a losing player. I think that's just in his nature. But
fair enough. Wow. It's entirely possible that a team like the Rangers can collide with an Atlantic team in the playoffs, meaning that they would have to eat one of Toronto, Florida, or Tampa Bay in the first round. No, I don't want it at all. I really don't. I don't want to play any team in the playoffs. as a Ranger fan, just because I know that it'll be a tooth and nail battle.
I got to stop you real quick. Let's stop acting like they're already clinched in the play. We got a very tight Eastern Conference wildcard race. Nothing's set in stone here.
No, you're right. Okay, sorry. I retract.
Speaking of Kachucks, I know Matt was mentioned before, but Brady.
Oh my God.
Did you see that article? You saw that article that came out today, Jake?
What article?
About Brady Tkachuk. I guess some Ottawa reporter was basically talking about why Brady Tkachuk should Brady Tkachuk really be the Senators' captain?
Because he's American? Is that really what this article is about?
It is, yeah. Well, I mean, you saw they were booing the anthem at the game. And
obviously, I saw that.
Shaking his head. I mean, I've already made this so clear. If you are an American team, unless your last name is Kucherov or I don't even know. You trade everything you can to get a guy like Brady Tkachuk in your life.
Absolutely. He wants out the door, though, doesn't he? I was starting to hear reports
No, he hasn't said that.
He hasn't said that,
he scored a goal the other night, and he held up the logo and pumped his chest.
Well, I mean, they scored it was 40 seconds left to tie it up. I mean, it's kind of a crazy goal. But.
So there's no way Brady Tkachuk will ever come out public and say he wants out, especially as the captain. That'll derail the Senators completely, and he won't. It's not that I don't even think he thinks that way anyways. This is a team that's competing for a playoff spot right now. I mean, they have a game in hand on both teams that are in the wild card race, and with a win, they can jump themselves right back into it. So I don't know. With the whole Brady Tkachuk situation, if he became available, everyone's on the board. I don't care. I mean, the only person maybe that I wouldn't trade Fox or Shesterkin for Brady Tkachuk. Those are the only two guys. I don't know if any Islanders are off the board for you, Tim, but
for Brady, it's always just going to be Barzy. I mean, that's it. That's the only one.
If you really wouldn't do for Matthew Barzal. I would do Lafreniere for Tkachuk in a heartbeat.
Yeah, so would anyone on the planet. I mean, that's not it's not even like a normal comparison there. The difference between our team because maybe I just don't know what the difference would be, but what I see when he's not on the ice, Barzal, versus when he is on the ice is a completely different Islanders team. Yep. And I just don't know if anyone else could replicate that sort of play, the way he possesses the puck and the way he does things in the offensive zone. I'm not saying he's better than Brady Tkachuk, just from a perspective of the way the team plays. I don't know if that would necessarily change the whole dynamic. If you brought Brady Tkachuk in, it kind of reset the whole team. I don't think they'd be better nor worse.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say this because I did see a report, and I know it could have just been some media smoke, but the Tkachuks potentially do want to join up forces together in the future, sort of not like the Sedins, because they were drafted together. Yeah. Do you think in a crazy, crazy world that could possibly happen in Florida? Or if they do want to end up doing something like this, it would have to be to a completely different franchise? Just a question to pick your brain.
Repeat the question.
If you see them teaming up, do you see them teaming up in Florida? Or is it a different team where these two guys kind of hit free agency and they're like, listen, we're going to sign here and we're going to
Honestly, I could see them teaming up
in St. Louis?
A team that they're,
Yeah, that's possible. I mean,
down the road,
for sure.
Keith's had such a legacy there.
Now their values go their values right now are way beyond the whole they're too valuable to where as a team, you have to give up so many assets. I truly believe that if they were going to ever team up, it would have to be later on in their career.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I just wanted to see where that was at.
Yeah, no, I got you. I want to talk a little bit about, actually, I'm going to bring this up. Because I do want to talk a little bit about the Islanders, because I have been talking with the Islanders fans for a bit. I actually have somebody who works for them, not have somebody, but I know somebody that works for them. I was picking his brain over the phone this weekend. I don't know, so another report came out today. The Islanders want to keep Brock Nelson around, but I guess I'm going to ask Stan, just to keep Tim foaming at the mouth a little bit here. Stan, I'm curious, do you think the Islanders will move on from both Kyle Palmieri and Brock Nelson?
Maybe not Palmieri, but definitely Brock Nelson.
And do you think I'm going to say this, I guess, do you think that they'll walk away with something that's going to make them better for the offseason and next season going forward?
I believe it's going to be the return's definitely going to be for the future and not for the now. That's what I think.
My concern, and Tim, I'm going to let you.
As Tim rolls his eyes.
No, I'm not. No, I agree with you. They would not get an immediate impact player back. No.
So my thing has always been with the Islanders is that when they make a trade, it's to get that immediate impact. You saw what they did with Aatu Ratti, which was, I mean, in my opinion, one of the most underrated trades in the last.
That was a fleece, if you really look at it. That was a fleece.
Total fleece. But every trade that the Islanders have made has really been to get somebody on their roster. So I believe that they would rather, instead of going for a first or a second, whatever it may be, picks wise, I think they'd rather get a young prospect in return for a guy like Nelson. So I guess to ask you, Tim, would you be upset if that's the route the Islanders went down again? Are you really only looking to get picks for guys like Nelson or Palmieri?
Well, the way I kind of look at it is, like you said, they're still actively trying to re-sign Brock Nelson, and he may get moved, and I know his value is super high. The way I would want to look at it is I would want someone, because especially, looking at the way the Yanni Gourde trade went down and all that, the value they got back, I would like to see some sort of player you can kind of stick in the lineup to play for throughout the rest of the season, and then maybe a pick and a prospect, nothing crazy, but just something that we could like plug in like a fourth line guy or something, and then you can get a second round pick with someone attached on like LeChance per se for the Jersey
if you listen
trade.
according to Pagnota, is that how you say his name? Right? Pagnota?
Yeah, same shit.
Nelson's price tag is believed to include a first round pick.
Yeah, no, I know. When I look at the market right now, if you look at the premier rental centers, he's number one because you're not going to trade for Pettersson, but
for sure.
Oh yeah.
I think if the way the Islanders are kind of looking at this is, I get it. Like you need to look towards the future, and I understand that. I'm not making excuses. The team has been pretty banged up all year. It's been kind of a hit or miss year for them.
Horrible.
They've been in or out of the lineup. Varley hasn't been playing since December. Duclair's been battling injury all year. Like a lot of these guys haven't been healthy, and we haven't really seen what a full team looks like. Now, I'm not saying it's great on paper, but trading your top goal scorer is kind of like, wow, we're really taking a step back toward that rebuild direction. And if they want to do that, you can do that. But I think with the way they're built right now, I don't say necessarily you sign him long term, but if you keep Nelson and move Palmieri for like a second round pick or a second and a fourth or something like that, because I think teams like Colorado or a lot of these Western Conference teams,
Minnesota,
they need to add guys like that. I think they're willing to give up a little bit more than they have been in the past, especially again when you look at the trade today, Yanni Gourde. That's a lot. I mean, they got Yorkshire and Gourde, but they gave up 2 firsts, a second, and a little bit extra. So I think there's a few things that can happen. I think more than likely Palmieri gets moved. I think they've been quiet about Palmieri. I think he's been with the team, not as long. And I know Lou really values loyalty.
That is also, it's a good point that you bring up, because I feel like with the Islanders, like the less they talk about someone that's likely to be moved, the more likely that they're going to be moved.
And I think for a guy like Palmieri, like I said earlier, I don't know if we were recording, but Casey Middlestat, I know they haven't really loved what he's been doing in Colorado. I think that's sort of a thing where you're like, we'll give you Palmieri, you move on from Middlestat. It kind of takes the cap relief away for that 3.5 he has for the next few years, and you can live with that rental and sign someone in the offseason. So I think there's more of that kind of going on. But if they do move Nelson, I'm going to want a first-round pick back. I'm going to need a first-round pick back and something else because he was on the Four Nations.
It's such a weird deadline with the whole cap situation.
It is.
Like, I think this summer, like this upcoming summer is going
to reset everything.
Cinema. It's going to be cinema. It's going to be pure cinema. I haven't gotten a look at the UFAs and RFAs.
Emily Kaplan did say that the Rangers could be big
the Rangers
players this summer.
They're going to have to be, dude. They're going to have to be. I mean,
go sign Tavares.
Dude, I would. I literally would in a heartbeat.
You would get him for a good deal. I mean, as much as I hate him, he's a hell of a hockey player.
Like, dude, there's going to be let me get a quick.
It's going to be a frenzy.
I'm just going to really fast look at the 2024 UFAs for the NHL. I really do believe that there's going to be like a big, like $10 million plus contract.
If Rantanen doesn't get a deal done,
if Rantanen doesn't get a deal,
you're looking at maybe $19 million.
I was going to ask about Mikko right now. Do we think he's going to be moved? Like, will they agree to a deal?
I think that organization is dysfunctional, and I really think they fucked up with this decision.
I don't know what it is. The thing about Rantanen is that ever since he came in, it seemed like they were treating him like a rental. Like it was like they never made it where it was like, the GM code, like Brendan Moore, no one came out and was like, we got our guy. Like, this is our guy. And meanwhile, they traded Marty Necas, who
it's such an expensive rental. It doesn't really make sense to me.
Good.
Think expensive. Are you serious? He's been one of the highest players in the league this season. So, like, when you trade a guy like that at his age, you want to be vocal and say, like, this is our guy. And for now to be the rumors circulating, it's too far gone. It really is too far gone. Will I be surprised if they re-sign him? No, because it's Carolina. They never fail to amaze me. But I do believe that the way that they've handled it, if I was a Hurricanes fan, I'd be really upset because when you get a guy like Mikko Rantanen, I mean, you want to keep him around for 5
Yeah, you want to keep
it. Doesn't matter how much it costs.
Yeah,
and plus, like, it felt like when they made that trade, it was like, okay, this is the guy. This is going to be.
I thought ink to pen was going to happen like 2 days later. I thought they were going to re-sign him.
Carolina so desperately needed for years.
Yep.
So strange.
Do you see more of a world where he gets moved at this deadline if he's leaving, or does he just not re-sign in the offseason and this is just a complete failure for them?
To me, it's Look, it's a lot of it's going to come down to the playoffs. If they build something serious in the playoffs, like if in my opinion,
good.
I know. It's Carolina's in a weird spot because they have a lot of expiring contracts too. Rantanen being one of them. I actually got to pull up the list. Taylor Hall they got as a rental, but Brent Burns needs a contract extension at the age of 39. This could be his last season.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Dmitry Orlov, who has not worked out. I mean, he's on a $7.7 million cap hit. It's just been brutal for them. So again, a lot of money coming off the books. They're going to have enough money to sign Mikko Rantanen. The question will be, is he going to want to get the most money, which I think is just going to be that way. And the one team that's been circling is Chicago, because now you got a guy like Bedard, you get your goalie, you get rid of Seth Jones' contract. I mean, they're going to have, if they wanted to, they could probably send $20 million to Mikko Rantanen. They won't, but that's the kind of money that Chicago's going to have. And I think Rantanen's the type of player where he's just going to want it to be like, yeah, I want the most money. So
they might have enough money to get him and Marner. I mean, they're kind of setting themselves up for a good spot here. I think if this goes down to where Carolina doesn't re-sign him and they have a second round exit and he leaves in the offseason, this could be one of like the worst trades I've seen in a very, very, very long time.
Let me go over a few of the rentals that I think could become available over the next couple of days or so as the deadline approaches.
Dylan Cousins?
Looking at a guy like Jason Zucker on Buffalo. He's got a $5 million cap hit. Andreas Athanasiou, they might want to re-sign him, though, depending on what route Chicago wants to go down. The Rangers have a couple guys as well, Riley Smith being one of the big names. I know Patrick Kane really likes Detroit. He's not going to get traded. There's no doubt about that. Brandon Tanev was the name that we spoke about a little bit early on the show. I think he's in a position where you add a guy like that to your team, like forget it. Your bottom six is set. One guy that I jumped off the page for me for the Rangers side of things was always going to be on defense because it's just been really, really bad right now.
Yeah.
I really like Brian Dumoulin.
Not against the Isles.
I think Brian Dumoulin got moved already, though, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he get traded already for the deadline?
Let's see. Brian?
No, he did not. So, yeah, so he's...
I was just going to say.
Oh, no, wait, he's on Anaheim now, so maybe he did get traded? I don't know. I was looking at him a little bit earlier. I like his underlying numbers. He's also a guy that's a little bit older, but some guy you want to playoff push. So, I don't know. I know we're talking a lot about the deadline, but I'm just so amped out for the offseason because it's just going to be massive, especially with Tavares and Marner both seeking an extension.
Dumoulin was traded to Anaheim over the summer.
Yeah, okay, so he's an option. He is.
Yeah, he is an option. What about, I saw one name, what about Mario Ferraro?
That's another guy, too, because he's with San Jose?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Johnny. Shout out Johnny. I know he loves Mario Ferraro. He's a big fan of him. So
also Scott Lawton as well.
Yeah.
I've seen.
Oh my God, his name's been getting thrown around for like 3 years, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I think really a lot of teams are kind of like, you know, there's like 3 or 4 teams that want to make a big move, but they don't want to because of the offseason. If you're going to commit to a guy now, the price is going to go up substantially in the offseason. So a lot of teams aren't going to want to give up a lot of assets. Like, I don't think a lot of teams are looking to give up a lot for Riley Smith because they just understand that the impact isn't there and he's not going to want to probably re-sign in the offseason because he's going to want too much money.
Let me ask you guys about a guy like Jake Evans. I mean, he's making 1.7, 28 years old in Montreal. They've been kind of iffy this year. Does a team like Los Angeles or Toronto kind of make a move for that? Because he's got a low cap hit and he's, you know, a pretty good depth center to bring in.
I don't see why not. Linus Ullmark did lead the Senators onto the ice, but there may be a change in net, something to watch for. I don't think Ullmark's going to.
Did they just sign him?
No, come on, stop it.
Oh, and this is, you know what? We've been talking about this guy for years, but is this the year maybe that John Gibson gets moved on from, or is this just kind of?
It's got to happen.
It's got to happen at some point. Why not now?
I don't know.
But who would he go to?
Could a team like Edmonton possibly make some cap wiggle room for him? Maybe,
but they're I don't know. I think Edmonton likes their roster a little bit too much right now. I don't think they're going to want to change things up. What I truly believe is that this deadline is going to just be a little bit of meh. I don't think Mikko Rantanen's getting traded. I think Carolina's smarter than that.
I think the offseason is going to be a lot more interesting than this deadline.
Yeah, the offseason. I was just going to say
a lot of it's going to come down to what happens with Mikko Rantanen, because then it goes from, okay, the offseason consists of Tavares and Marner and Ben and a lot of those guys too. Like, I think Stamkos got that big contract.
Yeah. But my thing with the cap going up too is when Rantanen re-signs that deal, that it's like Soto re-signing. I mean, that's going to reset everything. A lot of these guys are going to want more money. There's going to be, so I think there's almost not a need, but a want for teams to sort of kind of get some deals done now. and not have to worry about this going to the All-Star. I mean, I saw today, who did Buffalo just re-sign? It's like an hour before we even got on.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Haru? No.
Jordan Greenway. They signed Jordan Greenway again. So it's just something to think about. Maybe see some new contracts coming in, because when that cap goes up, a lot of guys are going to want some more money, and there's going to be some different looks next year.
Like Jamie Benn, for example, right? That's another guy too. So UFA. I mean, I if I'm Jamie Benn, I'm like my career is getting
that's like a Blake Wheeler kind of thing.
You resign.
Yeah.
You resign.
Oh my God, that's a name I forgot. Holy shit,
like,
Jamie Benn.
Crazy that he was a Ranger.
2015. Score?
Something like that.
Damn.
At 81,
Forgot
I think it
Blake
was.
Wheeler.
Dude,
Forgot
the Rangers
about
got
Blake Wheeler.
Vlad Tarasenko, Patrick Kane. Come on, we've been there.
You guys have had everyone.
So yeah, it feels like the 2000s where they
Just get everyone.
get everyone.
We get Leo
Yeah,
Komarov and
Shanahan,
Nikolai Kulemin.
Jokinen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Aaron Asham over
God.
here. Who do we have?
Aaron
Michael
Asham.
Pekka.
Aaron Ash.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. It's the playoff race. Like everything just in a weird.
You know
like,
why
even
it's
with
weird? You know why
everything's-
you want to know why it's weird? Because both of our teams fucking stink. All right, and I would really love to
Yeah.
be in this conversation. We're like, what are they gonna do? But I really don't know what either of them are gonna do, because for how
Right.
bad they have been, the Eastern Conference wildcard race has been worse. I mean, all these teams have been awful. Look at Boston. Boston's at 63 games, 64 points, or 53 games, 64 points. But it's just it's a mess in the East. I have no idea how it's gonna finish out. I haven't seen a year like this in a really long time. I know last year was a nail biter for the Isles. This is just a really bad race.
I feel like I say that like it's always a nail biter, but then it really is always a nail biter.
It's
just,
the-
like, I don't know if it's me being a spoiled Ranger fan, but we just haven't really been a part of it.
No,
Like the last
you
close,
haven't. No, you have a right to say that. You haven't been a part of
Yeah.
it.
The last close tight race, which I remember, was Kreider's 50-goal season.
Yeah.
When they were playing against Carolina twice at the end of the year, and that was really close for the division. But yeah, the wild card race is always tight. It's just different now when you look at the teams involved. Like it's been a complete 180. Again,
Pittsburgh's done.
You go from last year where it's the Rangers and Carolina and New Jersey in the top three, and now that Capitals enter the mix. Columbus is a wild card team right now. The Rangers and the Bruins are both middling right now. The Penguins are nowhere to be found, because last year I remember they choked that game to the Blackhawks at the end of the season, but they were in the mix all season long.
Yeah, they were.
Buffalo was in the
They
mix.
collapsed.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. Last question.
For Buffalo.
Last question. We got 15
you want to talk
minutes
about
before-
Buffalo? You want to talk about that train wreck? What the hell are they going to do
that's
there?
A disaster.
It's a disaster.
Last question, because we know you want to catch a Ranger game in 15.
It's okay.
Chris Kreider.
Sure.
No, not this.
Is
not
he
this.
going?
It's an off-season thing. I think he stays.
It
It's an off-season thing.
It has to be. Look, the Rangers have traded a lot of guys. I'm not, again, like I said, sentimental, whatever. They bought out Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah, we bought out Lundqvist.
Like,
Yeah.
We bought up DiPietro too, man. It's
Yeah.
tough. I know.
It's business, but don't you dare. So it's business, right?
I signed my shoe, man. Come on.
It's a business side of things, but
Wait, whoa. Time out. Rick DiPietro signed your shoe?
Shoe? And I didn't have anything for your lead. Han and Humpty.
That's
Yeah,
aura,
no.
dude. That's aura.
I found,
Nassau Coliseum.
Oh
Like you
my
would just see
God.
him walking, and no one cared because it's like this guy fucking blows when we signed him to a 15-year contract. But just walking around.
Jesus.
Yo, for
All
real,
right,
though, they trade Kreider at the deadline, that. I mean,
That kind of
stinks.
kills your team, dude. That
It
kind of
does.
it just rips the soul
It
of it.
does, but
Tim, they were 12-4 when they announced that Trouba and Kreider were on the trade block.
Right, and then that completely went south. There's no reason to get rid of him now, especially now that you're winning. Like, what's the point?
There's no point.
yeah.
Like, Tim,
If Nashville and the Islanders. If we beat Washington, it's like, okay.
We beat Winnipeg last night, buddy. All right, we're not that bad.
if I sat you down a week after the Rangers got eliminated by Florida last year, and I said to you that the Rangers would, in March, 2 days before the deadline, would have traded Trouba, Lindgren, Kakko, Hedl, and Vesey.
I wouldn't believe you. No.
I would have believed Trouba, because
Oh,
I felt like they were going to trade him over the summer, and then he
I've been
cockblocked
saying,
him,
Stan,
basically.
I've been saying this since you got him. I have never liked him. I don't think he's a very good hockey player. And then you gave him the C, and that really was like the nail in the coffin. But I'm glad you moved on from that, because that was a
The
joke.
C was a nightmare.
That was a
The fact
joke.
it wasn't-
That was a joke.
That was a
The
nightmare.
fact that it wasn't Kreider or Zibanejad, it was a joke. It should have been either of those two. But
And
for
now
me,
it might be Vinny Trocheck, which
yeah,
also
well,
is...
Give it to JT Miller.
Oh, I would do anything. I would do anything.
You love JT Miller like I love Barzal, dude.
But think about it this way. But Barzal is like, if he's on a 2-on-1, he's looking left. JT Miller doesn't give a shit if Gretzky was on the left-hand side of him on a shot. He is going to rip that. He's going to shoot it as hard as he possibly can to try to score. And he did it against your guy.
Well, of course he did. You don't know who turned it? Tony fucking D'Angelo. If you rewatch that play, are you kidding me? If you rewatch the play, it's what he did. 1, he turns the puck over. 2, he takes himself completely out of position.
How many own goals does he have as an Islander?
Like 3, and he's been on the team for a month. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's like there's 2 of them where he's legitimately shot them into our own net. Like he's tried to block a shot.
You don't like Tony D'Angelo.
It's like me and Shell.
No, absolutely love him. Besides the 2 games he played against you guys, he's been fantastic for us. He's been a workhorse. He's been like 30 minutes a night. He's been great. Flying. Dobson, on the other hand, Jesus Christ, that guy's killing me.
I think because you guys have a lot of listeners who are probably Devils fans, I think we need to talk a little bit about them, especially because of the Jack Hughes injury, and now they're probably in a position where it's not like they're. If anyone thinks the Devils are going to punt their season away, you're just buying the.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
Juice.
They're going to make a move, and does it revolve around Simon Nemec? Because he hasn't worked out with them at all, and he hates being there.
Yeah,
so
I feel like it has to be. Around him, because he's not playing.
Do you think they have? Now I'm not saying he's going to get traded.
Sure,
but do you just think that they might make a push for Rantanen?
That's the guy I think if they're going to make a move, a real big one, that's the guy they go after.
They can't afford him.
You lose.
I mean, how much money did they just put on LTI?
$8 million,
I believe.
Yeah, it wouldn't. I just don't think it would make sense for them. I don't, because if you do that, like. Think about it. Then you're paying what? You're paying Meyer $8 million, 8.8, I think. Hughes is making $8 million. He's off the books, but he's still making 8. Jesper Bratt's making close to 8. Nico Hischier is still signed to 7 point something for 3 years. I know Palat is on a supermax deal.
Yeah, but if there was a situation where you could somehow work this into the cap and you just move, because again, Simon Nemec was a top 3 pick.
No doubt. If the Devils get Rantanen, no doubt. But also, if you think Carolina is going to trade him to the team,
obviously interdivisional is tough. They'd have to get a great package back. But this might be a world where Luke Hughes might, if they can get him back, it might be like, oh geez, we'll give you a little bit more here. And
again, if there's going to be a blockbuster for Rantanen, he's going out west. It's going to be to team. It's going to be to a team that could afford him for next season. He's not going to be a rental twice. If he's going to get traded, it's going to be a team like Chicago that can give them prospects, or Anaheim that can give them prospects. I wouldn't be surprised if Anaheim trades a guy like Leo Carlsson, and Leo Carlsson gets traded and they sign Rantanen the same day to $13 million extension. But Rantanen's going to stay and test the open market. I
think you're agree, because I don't see a world where Carolina gives up on Mikko Rantanen for a guy that's not going to be somewhat of an immediate impact as he is. I just don't think that makes any sense for them.
The only reason why they would give him up now is so that they don't lose him for nothing.
Right. And if you know that, then it's like, geez, already, then this whole thing's a dumpster fire. Because if that's the situation, then I'm sure you're losing the team a little bit. I don't think everything's going to be in sync. And they don't scare me. They haven't scared me ever. I know they beat the Islanders all the time in the playoffs, but I mean, it's just a Stanley Cup contender. They don't scare me as a Stanley Cup contender. They don't.
I agree.
That's fair.
Now this is officially the last question involving the Devils. Gun to your head, this season, do the New Jersey Devils make the playoffs?
Yes, 100%. They're getting in.
Like I'm gonna hate myself. I'm gonna hate myself for saying this, but honest to God, I think there's a world where Columbus takes that 3 spot and they kind of fall out,
and the Devils get a wild card spot.
They don't. I think the Rangers take that other wild card spot, and someone else takes the other. I just think they've been in such a downward spiral.
So for reference in the standings,
it's not as much of a gap as it should be.
It's not as much as a gap, yeah. Devils are third in the Metro with 72 points. Columbus has that first wild card spot with 68 points. They are also in the Metro. Rangers in the Metro.
They got 2 games at hand, by the way, Stan. Mention that. They got 2 games at hand.
Columbus also has
they win those 2 games, they take the spot
as well.
Can I make myself very clear?
Yes.
There is like a 0% chance they miss the playoffs. Because
so if you're telling me listen to this. If you're telling me that Columbus, who if they win their next 2 games, gets to 72 points, and it would eventually, in turn, jump Jersey. You're saying there's no world where the Rangers can jump Jersey, and that, say, some team like Detroit and Ottawa can possibly jump a team like Jersey. What's Jersey in the last 10?
The
in a 2-game losing streak?
argument here is that they lose Jack Hughes and they get
Forward
in the last worse, correct? That's the whole thing. Like it's like you lose Jack Hughes.
I mean he's kind of their biggest impact player.
No, he definitely was. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong, and the way like guys like Palat have been playing, don't get me wrong for sure. But they lose Jack Hughes, and then you look at their rosters still. And the most important thing for the Devils season, why they've been successful, is their defense. Jacob Markstrom's been a top 3 goalie this season. And their defense actually has been really solid. They've been doing well. Dougie Hamilton, again, cannot stay healthy. But a lot of people don't remember that they have Brett Pesce, who's been outstanding. He's been very, very good for them. I think Brendan Dillon's on that backhand as well. Again, Luke Hughes, while he hasn't been that great, their defense has been rock solid. I know they have one of the better penalty-killing units in the NHL. Their power play was really solid for a while. I just truly believe that it's going to take a miracle for them to miss the playoffs because they're losing a 100-point scorer when he's fully healthy in Jack Hughes, but if they score 2 goals in a game, they're the kind of team that can keep other teams to 1 goal. It's been a rough stretch for them lately. Don't get me wrong. Like, look, think back to just December and January. Stan, season was over. Done. Rangers, done. I'm done. There's no way they're doing anything. But then suddenly they start winning more games, and I think in their last 10 they've won 7. So suddenly, and especially how tight everything is, all it takes is for you to go on a 4 or 5 game run, and things can be a lot different.
Yeah, well,
especially in this Eastern Conference.
That being said, it's a 4 or 5 game run the other way. They play Winnipeg next. They play Philly, which is a 4-point night. They play Columbus, which is a 4-point night. Edmonton, that's not an easy game. Pittsburgh, they probably win that one. They play Columbus again, another 4-point night. They got a lot of meaningful games coming up, and if you lose those meaningful games, you're starting to lose ground very, very quickly, especially with 2 games at hand from other teams. I just think there's a lot more in the standings left with the teams they have to play that the product they've been showing recently, with their last few wins have been against what? They've been against Utah, and they've been against the last 2 wins have been Utah and I think Nashville. And they've lost to all competitive teams that are in a playoff position right now. So I think when they go down the stretch and they play these harder teams, it's only going to get harder. And you're out Jack Hughes. I don't know. I just don't see it kind of coming to fruition for them. I just don't.
Do you really think Columbus is that good enough though? Like, I think really if anyone's really going to jump into the 3rd spot, it would be the Rangers. And again, I know it's been bad.
Well, that's my thing is I think the Rangers and Columbus kind of have that situation where either one of them could take the 3rd spot, sure, but I think the one could jump over them in the wild card and easy enough like that. You look at Columbus's record at home; they're fantastic at home, fantastic. On the road, a little iffy, but if they could start to come down the wire and string things together, I know people say Johnny Gaudreau magic all year, but they've been a pretty good team, and if they could piece some few things together, and New Jersey kind of continues in the way they are, I don't see a world,
Listen,
possibly they don't make it.
You and I are going to hold hands together down Pearl River if the Devils make the playoffs.
Of course we are. I hate them.
Yeah, me too. I hate them.
Yeah.
But I just truly believe like it's a team where that's why I'm like confident now with the Rangers, because I look at who's behind them and I'm like, like the Rangers are kind of a been there, done that situation.
This pains me to say it. They're better than them. They're better than them.
Who? The Rangers?
The Rangers are better than the Devils right now with Jack Hughes hurt. Yes, they are.
The defense for me. That's the only issue that I have is the defense.
You have better goaltending, and that serves a lot. It's true. He saves you a lot.
Markstrom's been great. He really has been really, really good. If you look at his numbers, he's been.
Isn't he hurt too, or is he off?
I think he's off. Right.
Even if he's off, he's had a career of inconsistency, and when they've made the playoffs in those teams with Calgary, he hasn't. It's been nothing like super special.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I truly believe that like you can say that the season starts now. I think the season. I mean, it's been all over the place.
Started at 4 Nations break. That's really where.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
All right.
I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm super nervous. If this whole conversation has told me anything, it's been the fact that I am very nervous for the next tonight. Tonight's I'm so nervous.
Tonight's a big one.
Buddy,
yeah.
Welcome to the life of an Islanders fan. This has been me for the last 6 years.
Why am I in a wild card race right now? Why?
You know how annoying this is?
This is
Dude, go through. Okay, go to 2022. I think that was the year they missed the playoffs. The Isles. There was a week where they cut it to 5 points, and they went on like an 8-game winning streak. And I'm listening to Spit and Chicklets playing roller hockey. Yeah, they choked. They choked real bad. But I'm listening to Spit and Chicklets like, the Isles win the next 3 games. They're in a playoff spot. And now I'm sitting here like watching every game like it's the Stanley Cup final. And they lose. This is just what happens. So I would buckle in because it's not going to be fun.
Oh, it's so funny though. It really is.
Jake, Closing remarks.
Man, this you guys always find a way to really bring out the joy in me in hockey. You guys really kind of motivate me to go deeper into my bag with the NHL. I know the first time you guys asked me to start this, we were sitting in a basement with my brother and some of our friends. So
you were on before
a little bit, yeah, but that was like
it was like spotty,
That was my one shining moment. I'm really excited to finish out the season here. Obviously, trade deadline coming up. I'm excited for you guys too, because I mean, March is like the best time of the year for the New York Sports Exchange. And I know
Jake. I'm just gearing up for the playoffs.
No, I know you guys are. I do have a college basketball question actually, and I know we need to get too much into it.
Don't ask me. I don't know.
Dan, I am riding with your Blue Devils. I want to just know, as one of the biggest Duke fans, probably the biggest Duke fan that I know.
Not even close. It's not even remotely close.
Yeah. What is your confidence level going into the tournament?
Jeez. Are you kidding me? He's been talking about this for like 2 weeks. He's like, this is the team to beat. This is the number one team in the country.
Seriously, with Auburn, with Florida out there, like seriously.
He doesn't even fear Auburn. He told me that he's like Auburn.
You beat Auburn.
Yeah, exactly. This is what he said to me. I asked Jake. I don't know anything about college basketball, and I asked him the same thing, and he gave me the answers like, we're winning the title. He's like, we're winning the title. This is the best team team I've ever seen.
is 25 years old and still plays like Tim in third grade CYO. Let's
give you that quarter three.
All right. So
I will say this.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
For my real answer, yes.
Sure.
I think the two games that like really worry me, and for whatever reason, is always, especially with the 1 seed, the round of 32 game and the Sweet 16 game. Always worry the hell out of me.
Of course.
Because especially with the 8 seeds this year, it's going to be like UConn, Gonzaga. Like there's some pretty like high level schools that are going to be 8 seeds. And I'm nervous. Like if we have to match up with UConn, it's going to be scary. And like, and I know UConn's having a down year right now, but but they're back-to-back national champions for a reason.
Really. How many times do we say it in hockey, gentlemen?
Yeah.
You just got to get in.
Yeah.
You just got to get in.
You just got to get in.
Well, this is how it is.
That was because, look, my cousin, you guys, honestly, like, seriously, shout out to Ethan Zaretsky, huge editor for Believe Sports and Believe Network. You guys would love to have him on for college basketball. He is, I mean, we're talking, he's staying up watching Eastern Michigan play basketball at 10:30 at night.
That's this motherfucker right here. You won't admit to it, but I'll get him.
We should get him. We should get him on. We need a fucking brat. We need a March guy. Yeah.
I will get him to you guys. He would love to.
Please do, because I have no help with this. I got this guy in March. I mean,
it's not even March.
I know.
It's November.
We're in February, and this is last year, and I'm sitting and we're recording the podcast, and I'm talking, and all I hear is, he's like, I got money on like the Eastern Michigan game. And I'm just like, what are you watching? And I look, he's like, look at his TV, and he's like, oh, I got the backdoor cover. I need the backdoor cover.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm super excited for college basketball. I'm super excited for you guys. Obviously, hockey can't go wrong, but it's an exciting time.
We're gonna have you on. We need you to have you on again at the end of the year. Obviously,
we got.
Playoffs. We need to get Matt back too.
I'll be here no matter what. Matt. I know Matt is an anomaly. He's too big time, man. He was on New York.
That's Hollywood. That's Hollywood now. RPI hockey.
Yeah. Listen, I'm telling you, Stan, eventually I'm going to get my Buffalo Sabres buddy on here, and he'll try and break down the whole what the hell's wrong with them, because that's like Mick, it's like an hour and a half conversation of like, how are we going to break this down? I got him texting me today. He's like, I'm going to give you Sam Lafferty for Brock Nelson. I was like, I didn't even know you still had Sam Lafferty. I didn't even know you still had NHL.
Yeah. All right. We're more than an hour into this. My God, we still have to record an actual chunk of the episode, so that's going to be great.
That's good.
But anyway, Jake, as always a pleasure having you on. Go Rangers. Hopefully they fucking make the playoffs.
Good luck to you guys, man.
Praying.
I'm giving you good luck. I mean, we're in the same boat. It blows. It blows.
May the best team win. Like, that's sort of where I'm at. May the best team win.
It's Tampa.
Thanks, Jake. Always a pleasure having Jake Zaretsky on to talk some puck. Nice little college basketball convo during and after.
Your favorite.
Love talking hoops, man. Just love talking hoops. Moving on to what I saw. Tim, I mean, I have like 4.
I'll sneak 2 in. I'll sneak 2 in.
Okay. All right.
They're both golf related, so for the golf fans here, this is going to be great.
This one's for you?
One,
okay.
Yeah, I had some golf practice today. I went to the sim. Front nine was great. Shot a 39 in the front nine. Back nine, my glove like ripped for 5 different times, so I was sweating through my palms so badly I couldn't even grab my club. The back nine wasn't as great, but the front nine was good. Second, what I saw is actually, if anyone hasn't seen it yet, the John Daly and John Daly Jr. versus Phil and What's his face? I
Bob?
don't know. No, it's not Bob. It's he was on Good. I don't remember his name, but I don't know. Whatever. If you look up John Daly and John Daly Jr., they had a golf match with Phil Mickelson and some other YouTube. I can't get. Is it Garrett? I will never know the name. I can't remember it, but they did a golf match, and if you haven't watched it, it's phenomenal. I love the way John Daly just does not care about the game, and he's so good. It's like appealing to watch. If you're a golfer and you watch this guy putt with one hand with a cigarette and the other one in a beer, and he's sinking like a 20-foot putt with one hand, it's like, Jesus Christ, why can't I be that good? Yeah, I have that same feeling. You're a golf fan, check it out.
He was a great player to play as in like Tiger Woods, PGA Tour.
John Daly. Oh, fun fact, Stan. You probably, I don't know if you knew this, but prior to 2004, he was the only person on tour to average a 300-plus yard drive from 1998 to 2004. Only person on tour. So he was
like so
unbelievable, right? The technology is crazy, but he was out driving dudes by 40 back in the day. That's why he was winning all those tournaments, because guys were driving the ball and he's driving it 40 yards further. He's like, you're not going to do anything about it. What do you like?
Yeah,
just better than you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Goodness. I have like 4 what I saw. Actually 3, because I can't think of the last one. My first what I saw is John Cena. I haven't watched wrestling in like 10 years. They turned John Cena heel, and he also joined forces with The Rock and Travis Scott.
I don't know the whole storyline, man.
I don't know either, but it's just very funny to me how
what
it's very funny
wrestling's
to me.
turned into.
Yeah, because like I kind of like dove into a rabbit hole per se, and everyone's like, "This is the golden age." Like this is just like
it was the golden age, man. Now it's not.
No, but apparently, like everyone's saying, like right now, like if you like haven't watched wrestling in a while, or like we're just like never a fan, now is like the perfect time to get into it.
Have you been to a match?
I've never been to a WWE event in my life.
Should we go to one?
Never in my life.
I could probably I could probably score us tickets for like super. I could probably get us like almost free tickets.
Let's look at it. Let's fuck it,
dude. My buddy Holden, whose dad works for the Syracuse.
They're at the Garden on Monday. Of
course they are. My buddy Holden, whose dad works for the Syracuse Crunch, can get us almost free tickets to like any A&W match, AEW, whatever.
This is even bigger. SummerSlam in August is at
MetLife. What are we sitting in the nosebleeds? How the fuck? How does that work?
I mean, I know that I've heard that they've like done shit. There's also something at the Hulu Theater too, like for pretty cheap. Go?
Because I know Scanlon used to be a fucking massive WWE guy.
I used to be pretty into it too, but like
I never got into it. Like, I was too busy watching Sean Bergenheim on Long Island every night.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, I was just gonna say you were too busy clamoring over Islander hockey. Yeah, the only shit that they have within like the next calendar year would be what? So then the Garden on the 10th.
Maybe a little grad present coming your way. SummerSlam.
Congrats, SummerSlam at MetLife. I got
his tickets. You wouldn't hate it. You wouldn't hate that at all. You would love it. You would love that.
Because I get fucked up and just scream shit
from the upper deck. Bring out Triple H. Bring out Triple H.
It's a 2-day event. Tim.
Oh my god! It's a 2-day. Should we get an RV and just sit in the parking lot?
A 2-day pass. $61.
That's I didn't realize it was still this big, man. Are they doing a cage match? What is it? A ladder match for Donovan? Whatever that fucking thing was.
Like
custody of what's
Dominic ladder match.
Oh
I saw a tweet, like I don't know if it's true or not, and like we're gonna post this clip on TikTok. I'll just disclaimer: wrestling people that see this, I have not watched a lick of WWE in maybe 10 years.
It's been years. I actually, you know what's hilarious, Dan? If we really wanted input on this, I got a buddy who still watches WWE, like a legit like.
Call him up right now. Like dial the number and call him up right now. Call him up. Because this is absurd.
I'll call him right now. I bet he'll pick up.
Yep.
Dude, what are you doing?
Hollywood. My God, he Hollywooded you.
Dude, you know what though? He's the equipment man. Oh, he's calling me back.
There we go.
Hold it. I got a wrestling question for you.
Tell him he's live. He's live on the New York Sports Exchange podcast.
Yeah, you're on the podcast right now. You're on the podcast right now. All right, Stan, what's the question you want to ask?
So, like, how monumental is John Cena turning heel?
Okay. How monumental is John Cena turning heel?
Massive.
Like how massive? Like if we're talking like is this like a revolution? Like Like scale 1 to 10, like this is the biggest it's been?
Like a 9.
Oh, all right. All right. I told you,
What would make it? What would?
As big as it gets.
What would make it as big as it gets? Is there something that can make it bigger? All right. That's
wow.
That's what we needed. That's what we needed.
That's all
Thank
we
you.
needed. Because, like, yeah, that's kind of all we needed. Thank you,
I
Holden.
appreciate it, Holtz. Thanks, Holtz. Yeah, appreciate it. All right. Huge Holden. Shout out Holden. Huge WWE fan. Like, loves it. That's the kid that can get us free tickets, by the way. Like, he can get us free tickets.
Get us that 2-day pass to
Well, I don't know. Stan, I don't know about SummerSlam. You're like, oh, I can get you free tickets to a Jets game. Now you're asking for the Super Bowl. Let's pump the brakes.
Get fucked up at MetLife Stadium to go to fucking wrestling.
We'll figure that one out. That's
$1,500.
I told you, dude. He'd have the answer. How big is that? Like a 9.5. Like I told you, he'd have the answer.
9.5. John Cena becoming the bad guy. Yeah, but anyway, I was just gonna say we're gonna put this clip on TikTok. I'm basically, you know how John Cena is like the leader of Make-A-Wish, like he has the most Make-A-Wishes.
That's his thing. Like, yeah.
Apparently, WWE has trademarked the term "Break-A-Wish," so that's gonna be funny.
Oh, is McMahon still running this?
That's gonna be hilarious. No, I did some research. It's Triple H.
I know
Triple H is running this shit.
I didn't know Triple H was running. I know McMahon wasn't still there. Do you think McMahon after that?
I knew McMahon.
Whatever they put. Did you watch the documentary that they put up?
I did. I was gonna watch it, and then I saw.
It's
no, but here's the thing.
good.
Here's the thing. I'm so like familiar with him. It was basically kind of like a documentary. Like if
like
you weren't familiar with him.
like a recap. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I kind of like knew like all the shit that he did, so I was like really looking forward to it.
Dude, in that interview, he was talking. He's like, "Oh, I would love to tell you some of the stories, like what was really going on there." And they're like, "Well, we'll say him." He's like, "I can't." I was like, "Well, what the fuck does that mean? What the hell was going on?"
My next one I saw is Casey Anthony. This is a dark
my
term.
God, back in law, yeah.
Yeah. What a fucking. For those who don't know, Casey Anthony is a horrible mother.
Worst of the worst.
She's the worst of the worst. She
She's
killed her child,
she's one of those people. If you asked, like, you could kill someone and like not have any penalty to it, who would you do it to? It's probably like that's a good answer.
Probably Casey. Casey Anthony is a popular. I'd say she'd get half the vote. Yeah, she would get half the vote. There's really, so for those that don't know, Casey Anthony is now working for the lawyer that helped her get off, and now she is a legal advocate for women's violence and LGBTQ violence, I believe. Something along the lines of that. She made a TikTok and turned off all the comments on her video. Wonder why. And she basically, she made a Substack, which is kind of like a other version of GoFundMe, if I'm not mistaken. That's what Substack is.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like just the donating.
It was
website.
basically telling people to donate. And the one part that killed me was, I've been in the legal field since 2011. And I was like, so when you were on trial for killing your kid, and
that's
you got away with it?
It's a great example. I mean, sure,
honestly,
if you're like...
Casey Anthony should run for president because that might unite the country.
To go against her? Yeah.
Yeah, like just to go against her.
Have her and John Cena on?
Yeah.
Who's the bigger villain?
God. Good God. But like, and like the funny thing is, it's like she's like doing this shit for like all the people. How about you try to find, the person that killed your kid? Because you didn't do it in the eyes of the court. So maybe you should go keep on finding that guy that killed you.
That's what the GoFundMe's for. That's what the GoFundMe's for.
Yeah.
Her and John Cena got to find who did it.
Stop it.
Joke.
Makes me sick. Like, I watched that Peacock documentary on her, and she was like, do you know that clip where it was like their parents were like talking to her? She had no remorse at all. She somehow like got away. This is why I miss Nancy Grace. Nancy Grace fucking like flamed her on national television every chance that she got. And like the lawyer was on doing an interview with her. She was like, so like, do you have an explanation for what Casey was doing the 4 days Kaylee went missing? And the lawyer goes, Nancy, you should know this as a lawyer that this falls under attorney-client privilege. And it's like, so it's important. Why does it fall under the attorney-client privilege?
There's a lot of questions that aren't
her whereabouts.
Exactly.
So stupid. So dumb. Fuck off, Casey. Just go away. Just go away.
Please. I thought she was away.
I thought she was too. And then all of a sudden Peacock's making a documentary about her.
Will they not make it? They're not making.
I've watched that whole.
I will still say this till the day the stupidest documentary I've ever seen was that bullshit Trey Turner standing ovation. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my god, that was.
They didn't even win a playoff series. Suck my dick. I hate that one. That one makes me so mad because how the fuck was Netflix like? This is a great idea. This is a great idea. Like, how does that go through?
So
like, oh
bad.
yeah, the team that lost in the first round. How's this a great idea? It's a great idea. Like, what are you doing? Just stop it.
And then my last one I saw is Pat
Jose
Roberts.
Reyes.
For those that don't know, Jose Reyes.
It was an interview, and they were like, "What's one MLB player you don't like?" He just straight up was like, "I don't like Chase Utley."
Oh wow. My last one I saw is Pat Roberts, friend of the program, met his childhood hero, or met his hero, really. He met Steph Curry.
Wow.
He met Steph Curry last night. Do you want to see the picture?
Was it at the game?
At the Garden. He
Wow.
met Steph Curry.
I did not ever expect that to happen.
Shout out Patty Iceman. Where is? Let me check. It was on Facebook.
Send it to me if you find it.
Here it is. There it is. Pat Roberts and Steph
Curry. Wow. I never thought it would happen. Shout out Pat Roberts. Congrats.
I never thought it would. Shout out him. Unbelievable.
That's crazy.
I wouldn't have bet
any money on that.
Imagine if I met A-Rod or Eli. I would have washed myself.
A-Rod's your hero?
Oh yeah, man. Come on.
You like A-Rod over Teixeira?
Yeah.
Right,
another one that made me laugh. Now that
wait. Let me ask you. Wait, hold on, right? Because I didn't even A-Rod or Jeter or Mariano. If you were to meet one of the three.
Well, Mariano.
I'm talking like sit down. Well, we don't know that. I mean, I don't want to go. No one. That's not. I didn't want to go down that road. Leave it over there. Leave it over there. SDRA in playoff history. I don't.
Like if we had the opportunity
sit down
to
and have a meal. Like sit down, have a meal, and have a real chat
A-Rod.
with one of these guys. A-Rod. All right, I like it. He's got more stories than anyone.
It'd be A-Rod. I originally had 3, and then
Is he your favorite Yankee of all time? I don't want to butt in again, but it wasn't Didi.
I think it's like A-Rod. Not Didi. Like A-Rod. I think my top 5 would probably be A-Rod, Jeter, Rivera,
Judge,
and then honestly probably Giancarlo Stanton right now.
That's
just
fair.
Because.
I wonder if Hideki was going to get in there. I don't know if he was.
Godzilla's an honorable mention. I'll say that. Godzilla is definitely an honorable mention there. Another what I saw, Heat Daddy. Tim and I follow this kid. This guy is fucking hilarious.
Who doesn't follow Heat Daddy?
He posted a video of the world's largest concert of like all those people playing drums and singing to All Apologies by Nirvana, but the Rangers goal song is in the background. And he said, Rangers fans when Matt Rempe elbows another player directly in the head, which I'll be the first to admit. Yeah.
Happens a lot. It's not his fault. True. He's tall. He's 6'9". It's not his fault.
Sarah Palin responded to Heat Daddy by saying, and then Heat Daddy said, high as hell eating Chinese food, and I just got a text. Sarah Palin tweeted at you. Sarah, what's up? You are sneaky hot.
Just a beauty. He's just a beauty.
You know who she's dating, right?
Who?
Ron Duguay.
Really?
Yes.
That's really random. That's
like just to go inside, just to be on those walls, just to be a fly on the wall for that relationship.
Really weird.
Former MSG Network analyst Ron Duguay and former New York Ranger with former Republican vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin.
It's just a weird dynamic.
Imagine the conversations. Like
all about Butch Gordon.
I remember Duguay once recommended that we move Miller to wing during playoffs, and everyone was like, all right.
Let's can him here.
Okay. All right, Ron. Oh my God. All right. What an episode, really.
It was great.
That's a great episode. Great episode. All right. That's going to wrap it up. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. Nah, we're not on X anymore. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. There we go. Be sure to like this video on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube, leave a comment on our video. Be sure to follow us and rate us on Spotify.
5 stars?
5 stars only. And we will see you guys next week, hopefully for a little conference tournament preview. This is March. The eyes of March are looming. It's March, baby. Can't wait. All right. Peace out, guys.